Hi guys, this is Beth here. Welcome to the Modernized Spirituality Podcast. This is a place where we thrive to become the best versions of ourselves. We use manifestation techniques, spirituality and metaphysics for all sorts of self-development. Enjoy!
Hi guys, it's Beth here from Modernized Spirituality. So I've decided to make a podcast. The reason that I've decided to make a podcast is basically I'm very aware that people, obviously I do YouTube videos and a lot of people don't have the time to sit there and watch a video, especially in the society where everyone is in this urgent mode all the time and always busy and occupying themselves. So I thought a podcast would be good for, people who don't really have time to sit down and watch videos but want to know stuff. I thought it'd be good if you're on a walk or if you're just on your way to work or something, you can just put a podcast on. That's what I do anyway. And a lot of people that I know seem to do that with podcasts, so why not? So on the first episode, what I'm going to talk about is one of the main themes within my life, within my business, within society in general as well, on a whole, to be honest, and that is self-limiting beliefs. So I'll start off from the very beginning of self-limiting beliefs. So obviously when we're younger, when we're born, and then we're growing up in childhood, we aren't capable of making our own decisions. Therefore, we turn to our parents, we turn to our teachers, we turn to society in general to basically teach us how to behave, how to respond to situations, what's right, what's wrong. Basically, the adults in our lives, well, not only the adults, I suppose the children as well that are your friends at that age, they basically help us identify the meaning to everything. And once you identify a meaning to something, you're giving it either a positive or negative charge. Before we were dependent on other people's opinions, or before we came into the world, everything fundamentally is neutral, on a neutral level. So if you think about it this way, if I was walking down the street and I saw those, those white lines in the road that basically indicate where the lanes are. If I'm walking down the road and I see those lines, to me, they mean nothing. However, to the person that paints those lines on the road every single day, they probably look at it and think, oh my God, I swear to God, if I see another of those white lines again, I'm sick of seeing them. I work all day and then I'm driving on the road and then I'm seeing them there, walking down the street, I'm seeing them there. So that's just an example of how we individually all put our own point of awareness on literally everything in life. So as we're growing up, basically we get help in identifying what charge something has, and obviously the people that are helping us to identify these things, they've gone through the same thing with their upbringing and so on. So it's just it's continued over years and years and years, and that's why there's a lot of patterns which are carried through generation to generation, because as we're dependent on the adults in the family as you're growing up, then I'm just by a lake and some swans are going absolutely mental. Can you not? It just creates a lot of patterns within the family, and that's why it takes someone very brave to break those patterns, because obviously when they're through generation to generation, they hold quite a strong value. They hold quite a strong energetic cord to your soul and your ancestors and everything, or your spirit, whatever you want to call it. So during this time, we basically build up these beliefs, and we have these thought processes that are influenced by others, and these beliefs are not necessarily your own beliefs, because obviously they're influenced by other people. Therefore, as you're growing up, you identify with these beliefs, and then you go up into your teenage years, you continue with these beliefs, and then obviously into your adulthood life, and these beliefs you're dragging along with you throughout the whole of your life until you become aware of them. The reason why they're self-limiting is, for example, if you have lived in a family who have not been very financially well off, and then their parents were from a working class, and then their parents were from a working class, then you're most likely going to grow up and believe that you are from a working class family, and you will identify with that. So you'll identify with the fact that you won't have much money because it's just the way that all of the generations have been. That's just where you belong in that class. And these will all be subconscious as well, so they won't necessarily be beliefs that are consciously on your mind all the time. You may be like, no, I don't believe that, but subconsciously, if you're in a position where you are in a working class and you aren't financially free and you do have financial restrictions, then that means that subconsciously you do have this belief that you are not particularly worthy of financial abundance. Now, how do we identify these beliefs if they are subconscious? Well, what you need to do is you need to look at your life. You need to reflect on your current situation at the moment. So, another example is if your parents had an unhappy marriage, if they argued all the time, it wasn't a particularly good relationship, but they stayed together for the kids or whatever because they don't want change, and their parents probably did the same, hence why they were in that relationship and they had that sort of environment in their life. So if you think about that and then reflect on your own life, so you'll probably find that the patterns seep through into your own life. So you'll probably find that you are in a relationship where on a surface level you may think that you're happy and you may think that you don't argue and things like that, but if you think subconsciously, then you'll come to see that there is some conflict there, and you do have this belief that marriages are usually unhappy, and maybe you have a belief that it's normal to constantly have conflict and not tend to the needs of yourself and others in a relationship, but you just think that's normal because that's all you've been exposed to, so you wouldn't know otherwise. So that's why it's subconscious. So reflect on the situations within your life that are restricting you. So relationships, look at your careers, look at your goals, look at your dreams. Do you follow your dreams? And if not, is it because your parents didn't? In your career, are you not in a career that you like? Are you in a career that you think you should be in because of society pressuring you? So something that's, like an office job, and most people don't want to be in an office job. Someone that's doing admin in an office 5 days a week, 9 to 5, probably isn't happy in their job. I mean, you may get the odd few people that are very passionate about admin. I've never met anyone like that, but I mean, you may be passionate about admin. But if you actually think about it, do you enjoy your job, or are you doing it because society says that mundane job is just a normal part of life? Society, it's not just your parents that influence these beliefs. A lot of it is social conditioning. A lot of it is from patterns throughout society that we just take for granted, and we think it's normal. We think it's normal to just go to school, go in education for years and years and years, and then now it's changing where it's recommended and it's approved of to get a degree, go to university for more years in education, and then come out of education, get a job that is, maybe it was like, say if you were good at maths in school, you're pressured to do whatever you're good at, even though it may not be what you actually like. You may be good at maths, but you may be in love with drawing. However, because in school the teachers said, right, yeah, you're good at maths, and then they drill in this thing where maths is an academic subject, so you're better off going into maths rather than something that's more creative, because it's not sustainable, or all of that. So really reflect on what it is that you do, and if it is actually for you, if it's your core belief, if it is something that is true to you deep down inside, and not something that you think you should be doing. Because if you think you should be doing it, then that means that it's coming from other people and it's not coming from your true desires. So reflect on that. Have a look at a few different aspects. Try journaling. Try doing like a life inventory and looking back at all the jobs you've had in school. If you struggled in a particular subject in school, what the teachers influenced within you. So, for example, I know that a lot of teachers, with myself, because I was in the top sets in school, if you didn't get an A star, you know, you felt like you wasn't worthy, I guess, and that you didn't receive that approval because you didn't get an A star, even though you may have got A's or B's or whatever. That's just ridiculous, and it affects you later on in life, because then, for myself again, for example, it created this belief of perfectionism, because I felt like because I didn't get 100% and everything, and it was always drilled into you by the teachers, you know, aim for A star, aim for 100%, and then if you don't get that, it's like, right, what can we do to get it? And it's not, oh my God, well done for getting an A, it's how can we improve and get an A star, which creates this perfectionism mindset, because you're always striving for better. But perfect doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. So, you know, it's just an example. Or if you was in a lower set, you may have been conditioned to think that you'll never, well, it's the same thing really, you'll never be good enough because you're in a lower set. And the fact that they have this segregation in schools anyway, with sets depending on your ability and usually academic subjects, that in itself is creating conditioning and beliefs that we have to be in separate classes according to our abilities. But we all have our own unique abilities and our own unique talents and strengths, so it's just ridiculous. Anyway, that's going down a completely different rabbit hole. I could talk about that for a lot longer, but we won't today. So yeah, just do a bit of an inventory on your life and see throughout your life, your childhood, your teenage years, your adulthood, what patterns have been persistent, if you've attracted certain people that you don't want to attract, and if you've attracted situations and events, like negative situations, just think, is this because of a pattern that I am actually carrying out, a belief that I actually hold? So reflect on that, and once you reflect on it, once you're aware, awareness is key for changing anything, especially beliefs. Once you're aware, then you're diagnosing what the problem is, and then you can find a solution. So give that a go. I think I'll leave it there for this first episode. I just want to keep it quite short, just to give you a bit of a taster, a bit of an introduction to the sort of topics that I'll be going through in the podcast. A lot of it will be to do with self-development, self-empowerment, self-confidence, how to cultivate self-confidence, spirituality, psychology, conspiracies, just a variation of things really, just a few subjects that are maybe, like hidden subjects that people don't necessarily talk about, but it influences everyone, it influences everybody's life. It's subjects that will change your life once you're aware of it and bring awareness to these things. So yeah, if you've got any suggestions for any other topics, feel free to send me a message, or comment if you can. I don't even know if you can comment on a podcast, but send me a message. Let me know if there's any topics that you want me to go through. And yeah, this one was a little bit jumbled up because it's the first one. I wasn't too sure what I was going to talk about first, so I've just sort of winged it. But the next one I'll plan it a bit better. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Definitely look into your beliefs, like I say. Really reflect on your parents, what your parents have gone through, and if it's seeped into your life. And then, like I say, write it down, try and get it all out, or talk about it with someone. If you prefer talking, then talk. And once you have that awareness, like I say, you can start to make the changes, you can start to identify. So say, for example, if you do realise you have this perfectionism mindset, which is holding you back in your workplace because you're always striving for perfect, which doesn't exist, then you can start to think, right, so how can I change my mindset, and how can I adjust my subconscious to understand that perfectionism doesn't exist, that perfect doesn't exist, and how can I cultivate the self-worth and understand that you giving your best is enough, and everybody makes mistakes, and that's fine. We grow from our mistakes, we learn from our failures. Failures are actually very, very, very valuable in life in order to learn and in order to progress. So, it just takes that shift in mindset, and it doesn't happen overnight, but the more you reflect on it, the more you are aware of it, when these thought processes come to mind and these beliefs do surface, then you're aware that it is just a belief and it's not who you are, it's not facts, it's not truth. I mean, it may be your truth to some extent, but it's not truth, really. And then you start to create a life that you actually enjoy and that is your true desires. And isn't that what life's for? Creating your own reality. and taking advantage of being here on earth at this moment in time. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Modernized Spirituality Podcast. Don't forget to like the Facebook page, Modernized Spirituality, the Instagram page, Modernized Spirituality, and the Twitter page, Spirit Modernized. Also, if you're interested in any birth chart readings or oracle card readings or any sort of spiritual guidance or life coaching, feel free to get in touch through social media, or you can get in touch through the website, which is www.modernizedspirituality.com.